And I swear I intended to ask about this earlier in the interview, so it didn't seem like I was just sneaking it in at the end, but here I
Yeah.
am sneaking it in at the end anyway. The bulging disc moment, which
Oh,
I'm sure you're tired of talking about, but it is an iconic SportsCenter moment.
yeah.
It seemed like you were just going to power through, like you kept a straight face at first and quickly corrected yourself. Then the camera goes off of you,
Yeah.
and the laughter started. So credit you for the blunder.
Thank you.
But how much credit does Keith Olbermann deserve for making that into such an iconic clip?
Yeah, most of it. McQuaid produced that night too, by the way, just so you know. I'm starting to think it's him. Yeah. And people wanted to blame the poor kid running the teleprompter. Like, no, I typed it in, and I typed it in correctly, by the way. I spelled disc correctly. Okay. I just misspoke. It was probably some nerves then too. So that was when SportsCenter, we would come on right out of Monday Night Football on ABC. And so it was our biggest audience, right? That click over moment from ABC to ESPN. We'd welcome everyone. And then we would go through the list of injuries from Sunday. And that's, the Maurice Hurst thing. And that became bulging. But Keith does get credit because, and he's a genius, obviously. So I say bulging disc or the other thing. And Keith goes, Steve, do we have any video of that? Which brings the house down, right? I mean, the cameras are shaking. And it's a 2-minute rip of some potentially career-ending injuries that I'm crying, laughing through, and Keith is not helping at this point. And the funny part that people don't know, I keep going back to Mike McQuaid. Immediately coming out of this, we were going to a story about a figure skater who had passed away. Okay, that was the next story in the rundown. Okay, and in the broadcast business, when you want to not do a story, you say kill that story, right? So McQuaid gets him and he goes, we're going to kill the figure skating story. Now, she already died, right? So it's kill the death, the figure. I mean, so that set the show into chaos too at that moment. And I just remember, I'm only 3 years in at ESPN.
Yeah.
It was 96. And I really thinking, you know what? Well, it was fun while it lasted. I got Ann called out sick that night or had a family thing. That's the only reason I was sitting next to Keith. It was my big shot. And I remember walking out, and guys back in those days were carrying stacks of tapes, right, under their arms. I mean, 20 tapes each side just to give to their friends, like to show people, And the last thing about it is I got back to the desk, and it was a voicemail. I had a lot of voicemails. And from people I didn't even know, broadcasters in the business. Fred Hickman was at CNN, I think, at the time, and he sent me a nice note. And Norby Williamson, who only until recently was my boss forever,
yeah,
he said, Steve, that was some of the funniest television I've ever seen. Keep up the great work. So I was relieved. And to this day, Brandon, I still get stopped and say, you're the bulging disc guy. And I'm like, yep, that's me. So, you got to be known for something. I think it's worked in my favor when I do these, charitable events, whatever, any kind of speaking engagement. I try to open with that because traditionally I'm not that funny. So that's kind of a funny moment. I've always been the straight guy on SportsCenter, sitting next to the funny anchor. I'm a good audience. I laugh. But this one, I guess, is my own. And now whenever a younger person does it, and people make the same mistake now once a year, it seems like, a younger broadcaster.
Yeah.
It always brings it back up and recirculates because I guess I was the first.